Hello, I'm Emily Barker. Well, it's been 20 years since Australia introduced universal superannuation, a change that revolutionised retirement income policy and savings policy. To mark the occasion, Christine St Anne has written a book, A Super History, that charts the long battle for super protection. Christine joins us in the bunker, compliments of Media Super. Christine, what prompted you to write this book?
Well, Emily, as you mentioned, it was a policy initiative that revolutionised retirement savings. It's also a unique in the world. Australia is the only country that has a compulsory savings system, and most of our workers now have retirement. And being a journalist in the industry for so many years, I had a natural interest. And I basically thought this is a story that really needs to be told.
Now, big changes don't just happen, they're driven by people. What are some of the people that pushed for superannuation?
Well, the people that pushed for superannuation basically went back as far as the 1940s with the maritime unions who were pushing for pensions for their workers. And then it sort of further intensified in the late 1970s with the Storemen and Packers Union also pushing for superannuation for their workers. But then we're looking at key union leaders like Bob Hawke, Bill Kelty, Simon Creed, Gary Weaver, and they were able to see the bigger picture in wanting the same benefits for their workers as those enjoyed in the private sector. And they're also able to see the benefits of using superannuation to fight something like inflation. So rather than going for a full-blown wage increase, divert part of that increase into a retirement or into superannuation that can benefit workers further down the line.
Were there any big disputes along the way?
Well, yes, there was. One of the big public disputes was what happened in the late 1970s with the Storemen and Packers, where they fought with the grocery sector, in particular with Woolworths, trying to get part of their wage increases into superannuation, and Woolworths didn't want to do that. And it was extraordinary because it ended up resulting in strikes and picket lines, and a number of supermarkets around Victoria hardly had any food on their stands because of this picket line. But what is extraordinary is that these workers were prepared to strike for superannuation, not for an upfront wage increase, and it definitely put superannuation up there in the minds of the public.
A lot of the book focuses on industry super funds. How important were they in the development?
Well, yes, I guess when I first approached the book, I was going to write about the comprehensive history of superannuation, talk about the retail superannuation, self-managed superannuation funds now. But I think I zoned in on the industry super funds was because they were basically a direct product, if you like, of the award wage negotiations where employers were diverting part of the wage increases into super, and that led into the formation of the industry super funds, and now they are a key part of the industry.
And there's also been a strong partnership between the unions and employers when it comes to super funds.
Yes, that's actually interesting, Emily, because when the industry super funds were set up, they were set up with equal representatives of employer groups as well as union groups. So now today, industry funds are managed in partnership with both union representatives and employers. And while they might have different ideologies, basically that ideology is left at the door, and when they come together, it's all done on the basis of managing retirement on behalf of the members that they represent.
What do you see as some of the challenges moving forward?
Well, I'm just a humble scribe of the industry, but basically I suppose one of the key challenges is now this industry which began 20 years ago was all about accumulating savings. Today it's now going to be looking at focusing on post-retirement as well. A number of baby boomers are now set to retire, so how will superannuation funds manage that portion of their membership base? And philosophically speaking, I think for industry funds, how are they going to meet those challenges, in the sense that one of the chapters looks at industry funds beginning based on the model of a Holden car as opposed to a Rolls Royce, and whether they will still have to maintain like a simple low cost offering, or will they have to go for more of the gizmos offered under a Rolls Royce in order to meet the challenges in the marketplace.
They've certainly come a long way though, haven't they?
They certainly have. It's like an industry that's worth over $1 trillion now.
It's a fascinating read. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Emily.
And of course, if you'd like to read Christine's book, you can buy it online or you can pick it up at your local Dymocks store.